Adrian tightened his grip on the controls of the small scout ship as it drifted through the shimmering blue clouds of the unexplored planet, Virelia. He had never seen anything like it. The atmosphere was thick and rich with color, the sky swirling, with shades of violet and silver. Strange floating plants dotted the horizon, moving slightly as if they were alive in more ways than one. Adrian felt both awe and a nervous excitement. This was the edge of human exploration, the place where legends might be born. The ship's sensors beeped urgently. "Unstable landing field detected," Adrian muttered. He adjusted the thrusters and aimed for a flat clearing. The ground beneath him was soft but surprisingly stable. With a final push, the ship touched down with a gentle thud. Outside, the world seemed alive, humming with an energy he couldn't name. No sooner had he stepped out of the ship than he noticed movement. Shadows slithered between the trees, and before he could react, several tall figures emerged. Their skin shimmered with a faint metallic hue, and their eyes glowed with intelligence. They moved with perfect grace, their robes flowing without a sound. Adrian froze. These were no ordinary aliens. These were Virelians, the rulers of this planet, as ancient legends whispered among the few humans who had ventured near this sector of space. "You are not from here," a clear, melodic voice said. Adrian turned to see a figure stepping forward, taller and more radiant than the others. A crown-like structure rested atop her head, and her presence commanded attention without force. This was Queen Lyra herself. I'm human," Adrian said, trying to keep his voice steady. "I mean no harm. I'm exploring—" "You are the human they whispered about," Lyra interrupted, her eyes narrowing slightly but filled with curiosity. "The one they called the legend." Adrian blinked. Legend. He had heard stories of humans being clever, brave, and sometimes unpredictable, but he never imagined aliens would speak of him or his kind in such a way. "You know of humans?" he asked, feeling both nervous and proud. Lyra nodded. "Rumors reached our world long before your kind arrived. Stories of humans solving impossible problems, surviving where others fail, and showing courage even when defeat seems certain." Adrian swallowed. He wanted to explain himself, but he realized words would not be enough here. Actions would speak louder. One of the Virelian guards stepped forward, scanning Adrian carefully. "He carries strange artifacts," the guard said. His voice was calm but firm. He gestured to the small device Adrian carried in his pack, a tool that helped him map planets. It glowed faintly, reacting to the alien environment. Queen Lyra's eyes widened. "Yes. It moves because of him. The legends were true." She looked at Adrian with a mixture of astonishment and something else. Respect. "Then you truly are the human we awaited." Before Adrian could respond, the ground trembled. From the forest beyond, massive shapes moved, approaching quickly. Lyra's guards readied their energy shields, their sleek weapons humming with power. Adrian instinctively stepped forward, analyzing the movement. It wasn't a natural predator. These were machines, ancient constructs left over from a war the Virelians rarely spoke of. They were dangerous, and the fact that they activated now was no coincidence. I can help," Adrian said. He quickly scanned his tools and realized he could hack into the energy patterns of the machines, slowing them down. With a few adjustments, the glowing artifacts in his pack began emitting pulses, confusing the machine's sensors. They slowed, staggered, and then collapsed, harmlessly sparking on the ground. Lyra's mouth opened slightly in surprise. "Incredible," she whispered. "No Virelian has ever managed that." She approached him slowly. "You are not only the legend, but you are more than we imagined." Adrian felt a mix of pride and fear. "I didn't come here to be a legend. I just wanted to explore." Lyra smiled faintly. Sometimes, humans become legends not by choice, but by the courage of their actions. You have already shown us something few species can: ingenuity under pressure and calm in danger. The other Varelians approached more closely now, their fear giving way to curiosity. They examined Adrian and his ship, whispering among themselves. For the first time, he felt like he was not just an intruder, but a visitor whose presence mattered. Still, the tension remained. Queen Lyra's expression hardened slightly as she looked toward the horizon. "The galaxy is watching us," she said. "And now a new chapter begins. With you." Adrian tried to grasp the weight of her words. He was far from home, on a planet that had never seen humans, standing before a queen who could decide the fate of millions with a single gesture. And yet, he felt a spark of hope. Maybe humans truly could make a difference out here. "You must come with me," Lyra said. "There are matters you do not yet understand, and your presence may decide the course of our world." Adrian nodded. I will do my best." Lyra extended her hand, and for a moment, the air seemed to hum around them. The forest behind them was silent now, as if the planet itself was waiting. "Then follow me, legend," she said, her voice both commanding and welcoming. "For your journey has only just begun." As Adrian walked beside Queen Lyra, he could not shake the feeling that everything he had known about humans, about legends, and about courage was about to change. The world of Virelia stretched before him, mysterious and beautiful. And he realized that his life, and perhaps the fate of his species, would soon be intertwined with this alien civilization in ways he could not yet imagine. And somewhere deep, in the back of his mind, a thought echoed. Maybe the humans of Earth were not as small as the galaxy believed. Adrian followed Queen Lyra through the tall, shimmering corridors of her city. The walls glowed softly, reflecting colors he had never seen on Earth. Strange symbols moved along the surfaces, changing shape as if the building itself was alive. Adrian marveled, but he knew he could not just stand in awe. He needed to prove he was more than a curiosity. Lyra led him to a large chamber filled with Varelian scientists. They were gathered around a strange device that emitted a low hum, sparks occasionally jumping from its surface. The device had stopped functioning hours ago, and no Varelian had been able to repair it. "This," Lyra said, her tone calm but serious, "is the core of our knowledge. Without it, the city's energy and communications are at risk. Many have tried to fix it, but none succeeded. Perhaps you can." Adrian swallowed. He had never seen technology like this before, yet something about its patterns reminded him of human circuitry. He knelt near the device and studied its flowing energy lines. The Varelians watched silently, their glowing eyes full of expectation. He muttered to himself, "It's like a puzzle, just needs the right touch." Carefully, he connected one of his small devices to the core. The lights on his tool synchronized with the core's hum. Slowly, the energy flowed again. Sparks disappeared, hums became stable, and the core's glow returned to normal. The room erupted in quiet amazement. The scientists exchanged astonished glances, their voices a soft chorus of admiration. Lyra's eyes shone brightly. You have done what no Varelian could. You have restored the core." Adrian looked up, nervous. "I just tried to see what it wanted. I didn't do anything special." Lyra smiled faintly, though her eyes carried seriousness. "No, it is special. You see patterns others cannot. You think creatively, act quickly, and adapt. These are qualities we value in our legends, and in humans they are exceptional." Even as the queen spoke, a commotion started outside the chamber. Adrian moved to the window and saw small drones, the kind used to monitor the city, scattering wildly. A message. flashed across his device. It was a warning. Sabotage detected in the northern sector. Lyra frowned. Some within our city do not trust you. They fear the humans and what you might bring. We must act quickly. Adrian nodded. Then let's see what's going on. He followed Lyra to the northern sector. The streets were filled, with Varelians trying to repair small damages caused by an unknown group. Energy conduits were sparking, communication lines down, and a minor panic had started to spread. Adrian knelt near a conduit, examining it. They've triggered a chain reaction. I can reroute the energy to stop it. Using his tools and human logic, he connected the damaged conduits in a new pattern. Energy flowed smoothly again, and the sparks vanished. Citizens cheered quietly, amazed at the human who had saved the day. Lyra approached him, her voice calm but full of weight. Your ability to think quickly, to solve problems others cannot, is extraordinary. Humans truly are more than what the legends describe. Adrian felt a strange mix of pride and humility. He had never wanted fame. He only wanted to explore. But he realized that his actions could make a difference here, not just for him, but for both species. For the next few days, Adrian moved among the Varelians, learning their ways and teaching small human techniques. He showed them how to organize tasks more efficiently, how to use intuition alongside logic, and even introduced simple games that encouraged teamwork. Slowly, the alien citizens began to see humans not as a threat, but as a source of inspiration. Yet, not all were pleased. Some factions whispered in shadowed corridors, their voices full of doubt and fear. The human is clever, too clever, one hissed. If the legends are true, we may no longer be the strongest. Another replied, We must observe carefully. Do not act yet, for his presence could be dangerous. Adrian was unaware of these whispers, but he felt tension in the air. Despite the admiration, he realized that trust was fragile. Every step he took, every action, could change how the aliens saw humans. He understood that being a legend was not about strength, it was about proving worth, even when watched by those who doubted him. One evening, as the twin moons rose over Virelia, Lyra invited Adrian to a terrace overlooking the city. The glowing structures below reflected in her eyes, and she turned to him. I have observed you for days, human. Not only your skills, but your heart. You act not out of fear, not out of desire for power, but out of care for others. That is why the legends spoke of you. Adrian felt a warmth he had not known in many lonely days of space travel. I don't know if I'm a legend, he said softly. I just try to do what's right. Lyra's smile was gentle, almost human. Perhaps that is exactly what makes you one. Legends are not born. They are shown through deeds, through courage, and through the choices they make when no one else can. Before Adrian could respond, a sudden alarm sounded across the city. The holographic screens in the terrace pulsed, red. Lyra's expression hardened. Trouble has reached the outer perimeter. Some factions have activated the ancient defense systems. They do not trust your presence, human. This will test your abilities like never before. Adrian took a deep breath. He had already proven some worth, but now the stakes were higher. He realized that surviving here would require more than skill. It would require trust, creativity, and courage beyond what he had imagined. Then let's go, he said. Lyra nodded, and together they ran toward the danger. The city's streets, once calm and glowing, now vibrated with tension. Adrian could feel the weight of eyes watching him, citizens wondering if the human could live up to the legends. As they approached the outer sector, Adrian knew one thing. He could not fail. Not for himself, not for the aliens, and not for the hope that humans might finally show the galaxy what they were capable of. And somewhere deep inside, he felt the truth of Lyra's words echoing in his mind. Sometimes legends are created not by choice, but by courage under pressure. The city's streets were calm again, but the tension had not fully disappeared. Adrian walked beside Queen Lyra, observing the alien citizens who now looked at him with a mixture of curiosity and cautious respect. He had proven his skill with technology and quick thinking, yet he sensed that winning their hearts required more than clever solutions. It required something uniquely human. "Adrian," Lyra said softly, "the people are curious. They see your skill, but they also want to understand you. To truly earn trust, you must show them the human way, how you think, how you feel." Adrian nodded. He remembered his days on Earth, how humans had used small gestures to inspire and connect. A smile, a kind word, even a simple game could change the mood of a room. Perhaps he could do the same here. He began with small steps. In the market square, he approached young Varelian children who were cautiously watching the humans from behind glowing barriers. He knelt and held out his hand in friendship, showing a small, simple puzzle from Earth. The children hesitated, then began to mimic his actions, laughing as the pieces fit together. Their laughter was soft and musical, blending with the alien language in a way that warmed Adrian's heart. Lyra watched silently from a distance, a faint smile on her face. "Humans have a strange power," she whispered. "Even a small action can inspire many." Next, Adrian introduced simple human tools to the city's workshops. He showed the Varelian engineers how to combine materials in ways they had never considered. The results were small but effective. Machines became faster, energy usage dropped slightly, and morale among the workers improved. The engineers whispered among themselves, impressed by the humans' creativity. Yet, not everything was easy. Some older Varelians resisted his methods, claiming that humans could not understand their culture and traditions. Adrian listened patiently, explaining that he respected their ways but offered alternatives when the old methods failed. Slowly, the skeptics began to see that human solutions were not disrespectful. They were practical, sometimes even elegant. One afternoon, as he helped repair a communication relay, a young Varelian approached him. "Why do you help us?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "You do not belong here. You are far from your world." Adrian paused, thinking carefully. "Because it is right," he said simply. "Because I can, and because helping each other makes life better for everyone. That is what humans believe." The girl's eyes widened. "Even when danger comes?" "Especially then," he replied. Word of his actions spread quickly. Soon, small groups of Varelians followed him, asking questions, seeking advice, and trying the human games and techniques. For the first time, Adrian realized that his presence was changing the culture, not through force or power, but by example. He was becoming a bridge between two worlds. Lyra called him to the palace one evening. The city's lights reflected on her face as she spoke. "Adrian, the legends were correct. Humans are remarkable, not because of strength or technology, but because of what they bring to others, their courage, creativity, and care. You are showing our people something new, something valuable." Adrian felt a warmth he had never experienced in his travels. "I don't feel like a legend," he admitted. "I just try to help." "Perhaps that is why you are one," Lyra said. "Legends are not born. They are revealed through deeds, through choices, and through the hearts they touch." But not everyone was pleased. In the shadows, whispers of doubt continued among certain factions. "The human is clever and bold," one said quietly. "But he influences our people too quickly. What if he changes things too much?" Another replied, "He may bring us together, or lead us into chaos. We must be cautious." Adrian remained unaware of these plots, yet he felt an undercurrent of tension. Being a hero required more than skill and kindness. It required wisdom and patience. He realized that every step he took could affect the fragile balance of trust he was building. A few days later, Adrian and Lyra were summoned to a council of elders. They gathered in a grand hall where ancient murals depicted battles, discoveries, and alliances spanning thousands of years. The elders spoke in measured tones, questioning Adrian's motives and abilities. "You have solved our problems with skill," one elder said. "But can a human understand the weight of leadership in our world? Can he guide our people when the galaxy turns against us?" Adrian took a deep breath. He thought of Earth, of humans surviving against impossible odds, of people working together to achieve what others said was impossible. "I do not claim to know everything," he said, "but I do know that every problem has a solution if we work together. And I have learned from your people as much as you have learned from me. Together, we can face anything." The hall was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, the elders nodded. Some still looked uncertain, but others smiled, recognizing a rare quality in the human before them: courage, honesty, and the ability to unite. Lyra placed a hand on Adrian's shoulder. "You see, human, this is the human touch. Not just strength or skill, but understanding, empathy, and action that inspires others. You are teaching our people what it means to lead with heart." Adrian realized that being a legend was not about recognition or fame. It was about making a real difference, even in ways that were subtle. He had come to Veralia as an explorer, yet he was becoming something more, a symbol of what humans could achieve, not through force, but through courage, creativity, and care. That night, as Adrian walked through the glowing gardens of the palace, he saw children playing the puzzles he had introduced, engineers discussing new methods, and citizens sharing stories of his deeds. He smiled quietly to himself. Somewhere deep, in the city, a shadow lingered. Those who still doubted him, but Adrian knew he could face them when the time came. For now he had touched the hearts of many, and that was more powerful than any weapon or device. And in the quiet of the night, under the twin moons of Veralia, Adrian realized the truth. Humans were not just survivors or explorers. Humans could inspire, unite, and change worlds, and that was a kind of legend all its own. Adrian walked through the grand corridors of Verelia's palace, his mind racing. The city had accepted him in many ways, yet he knew that trust was still fragile. Some factions still whispered in the shadows, wary of the human who had become a symbol of change. And now, new threats loomed. Rumors of a galaxy-wide danger that could affect not only Verelia, but every nearby system. Queen Lyra approached him, her steps graceful and confident. "Adrian," she said, her voice calm but firm, "the factions that doubted you have grown restless. And beyond our planet, the threat you heard about is real. A fleet from the Sereth Dominion moves closer every day. They are known for conquest and destruction. If we do not act, our world may face ruin." Adrian nodded, feeling the weight of the situation. "What do you want me to do?" he asked. Lyra's eyes shone with determination. "You will lead a delegation to negotiate alliances with neighboring systems. Your presence alone may show them that humans are not only clever but trustworthy. And your ability to think differently may help us prevent war." Adrian took a deep breath. Diplomacy was different from puzzles and machines, but humans had a long history of negotiation and problem-solving. "I will do my best," he said. Their first stop was the planet Tirath, home to a species of winged aliens known for their speed and keen observation. The delegation included Verelian diplomats and scientists, and Adrian walked among them, learning names and customs. The Tirathians received them warily, their wings folding tightly against their backs. The first council meeting was tense. The Tarathian leaders spoke quickly, their voices sharp, questioning every move of the Varelians and Adrian. "Why should, we trust a human?" one demanded. "Legends speak of unpredictability. You could turn against us at any moment." Adrian stepped forward. He looked directly at the council. "I understand your concern," he said, keeping his voice calm. "But humans survive because we learn, adapt, and work with others. I have come not to fight, but to find solutions. If we act together, we can protect not only Varelia, but every world that might face this threat." The Tarathians studied him silently. His words had no force of weapons, yet they carried something different: confidence, honesty, and clarity. Slowly, one of the council members nodded. "Perhaps. There is sense in your way. We will consider your proposal, human." Encouraged, Adrian used every skill he had learned on Earth, listening, observing, and speaking with empathy. He asked questions about Tarathian customs, their fears, and their goals. He suggested ways that human and Varelian strategies could complement Tarathian strengths. By the end of the meeting, the council had agreed to a temporary alliance, enough to prepare for the Sareth Dominion's arrival. Lyra watched him quietly. "You are showing them the human touch again," she said. "Not with force, but with understanding. You unite what logic alone cannot." Their next stop was Dramara, a planet of subterranean civilizations with incredible knowledge of energy manipulation. Here, skepticism was higher. Dramarans rarely trusted outsiders. But Adrian approached them as he had approached the Tarathians, with respect, curiosity, and small human gestures to build connection. He demonstrated a simple energy optimization technique he had developed from Varelian lessons, showing how it could increase efficiency without disrupting Dramara traditions. The Dramarans were impressed. "A human can think differently," one elder said. "Perhaps there is value in your perspective." Days passed as Adrian traveled with the delegation, forming fragile alliances, solving disputes, and building trust where doubt had ruled. Yet every victory carried a shadow. The Sareth Dominion continued to advance, and Adrian knew that negotiation alone would not stop them. One night, as he reviewed maps and energy projections in his quarters, Lyra appeared at the doorway. "There is something you must understand, Adrian," she said. "These alliances are fragile. Some will betray us, either from fear or ambition. Others may hesitate when action is required. You will need to lead not just with your mind, but with your heart." Adrian nodded, understanding the gravity of her words. "Then I must earn their trust every step of the way. I will not fail." The following day brought a real test. News arrived that the Sareth Dominion had launched a small strike against a neutral system, demonstrating their power and warning of their strength. Panic rippled through the newly formed alliances. Some leaders argued to retreat, while others demanded immediate retaliation. Adrian spoke to the council, calmly but firmly. "We cannot respond with fear. We must act with intelligence and cooperation. If we fight separately, we will fail. But if we unite and combine our strengths, we have a chance to protect our worlds and avoid unnecessary loss." He then shared a plan using human ingenuity and the unique skills of each species: Varelian energy shields, Tarathian mobility, Dremaran energy manipulation, and human adaptability. It was unconventional, risky, and required absolute trust. The HFY Council murmured with doubt, but Adrian addressed each concern, showing how the plan minimized risk while maximizing protection. Slowly, the leaders agreed. Lyra smiled faintly. "You are becoming a true symbol of human potential, Adrian. You show that strength is not only measured by weapons or power, but by the ability to unite, inspire, and act wisely under pressure." As preparations began, Adrian realized the truth of his role. He was no longer merely an explorer. He was a bridge between species, a human whose courage, creativity, and empathy could shape the fate of entire worlds. But he also knew the greatest challenge was yet to come. The Sereth Dominion's fleet was advancing, and when it arrived, human ingenuity alone might not be enough. He would need every lesson he had learned, every trust he had built, and every ally he had gained. And deep inside, Adrian felt the echo of Queen Lyra's words from their first meeting. Sometimes legends are created not by choice, but by courage and wisdom in the face of impossible challenges. As the twin moons of Virelia rose over the horizon, Adrian stood beside Lyra, looking at the stars. Each point of light represented a world he might touch, a life he might influence, and a choice that could define the future. He tightened his grip on the small device he had carried from Earth, feeling the pulse of energy and possibility. The galaxy was watching, and for the first time, Adrian felt ready to show them what humans could do. The morning sun rose over Virelia, casting soft violet and silver light across the city. Adrian stood at the command center with Queen Lyra and representatives from the allied planets. The Sereth Dominion's fleet was only hours away, and the tension in the room was thick. Citizens had gathered at safe points watching the skies, and many eyes were upon Adrian, the human who had become a symbol of hope. Lyra's voice cut through the silence. Adrian, the Alliance must act as one. The Sereth fleet is powerful, but they underestimate the strength of cooperation and ingenuity. You will guide our combined forces. Adrian felt the weight of her words. He had trained for exploration, not war, yet he realized that this moment was the test of everything he had learned: human courage, quick thinking, and empathy. The fleet approached silently, massive ships reflecting the light of Virelia's twin moons. Their intent was clear. They wanted submission, not negotiation. Adrian quickly studied the star maps, observing the Dominion's formation. They are strong, he admitted, but they rely heavily on synchronized strikes. If we can disrupt their coordination, we can defend without destroying our own cities. He turned to the allied commanders, a mix of Virelians, Tirathians, and Dremorans. We will use their strength against them, he explained. The Virelians provide energy shields. Tirathians move quickly to intercept smaller attacks. Dremorans redirect energy flows to slow them, and humans, well, we adapt in ways no one expects. Plans were set, and the allied forces took their positions. Adrian's human intuition guided decisions in real time, adjusting strategies as attacks came faster than expected. He called out instructions calmly but decisively, blending the strengths of each species into a single, coordinated effort. When the Dominion launched their first strike, the battle began with a roar of energy and light. Massive ships fired at the city, but Adrian's strategy worked. Tirathians darted between vessels, causing confusion, while Dremorans redirected energy surges that could have damaged the city. Virelian shields absorbed the remaining blows. Adrian noticed a smaller Dominion squadron trying to flank their forces. "Tirathians, intercept!" he shouted. "Humans, follow my lead!" Using small devices and clever tricks, he created false signals to mislead the enemy, causing them to collide and disrupt their formation. Queen Lyra watched from the control room, amazement in her eyes. "Humans think differently," she said, softly. "They see possibilities where others see limits." Hours passed as the battle raged. Adrian moved tirelessly, coordinating attacks, solving unexpected problems, and keeping morale high. Allied ships worked in perfect harmony under his guidance, a unity that the Dominion had never anticipated. At one point, a massive Sereth battleship broke through the defenses, heading straight for the city center. Adrian's heart raced. "We need a distraction," he called. He quickly modified some Virelian drones, sending them toward the ship with energy, pulses that confused its targeting system. Tirathian interceptors followed, striking precise blows that diverted the ship's path. The city remained safe. Citizens below watched the sky, cheering as the combined forces held the line. For the first time, they saw not just alien soldiers defending their homes, but a human leading them, blending species into a single force. Children whispered of legends, and even older citizens began to believe that humans were capable of greatness, beyond imagination. As the Dominion retreated, their formation broken and ships damaged, Adrian realized the importance of unity. "We didn't just defend Viralia," he said to Lyra and the Allied leaders. "We proved that working together, respecting each other's strengths, we can face anything, even a fleet that seems unstoppable." Lyra stepped forward, her voice full of pride. "You have shown our people the true meaning of courage, human. Not by force, but by leadership, understanding, and creativity. You are the hero of two worlds, Earth and Viralia." Adrian felt a deep humility. He had never sought recognition, yet he understood now that his actions had inspired more than admiration. They had changed perspectives, healed fears, and built trust that could last generations. That evening, the Allied forces held a ceremony in the city square. Citizens, aliens of all kinds, and humans gathered to honor the victory. Lights shimmered across the plaza, reflecting in Adrian's eyes as Queen Lyra addressed the crowd. "The human before you," she began, "has shown courage, intelligence, and heart. He has not only defended our world, but has united species through wisdom and action. Let this be remembered. Humans are capable of greatness, and their legends are real." The crowd erupted in cheers. Children ran toward Adrian, laughing and asking questions. Engineers and scholars came to discuss ideas and techniques. Allies from neighboring planets offered gratitude and friendship. Adrian smiled, realizing that his journey had grown beyond exploration. It had become a story of hope and unity. Later, as the city lights dimmed and the moons rose high, Adrian walked with Lyra through the gardens. "You did not just fight a fleet," Lyra said softly. "You showed them the human spirit. You taught us that strength is not only in power, but in courage, creativity, and heart." Adrian looked up at the stars. "I only did what humans do best. We face problems, adapt, and care for each other. I never thought that could mean so much to another world." Lyra smiled. "And yet it has. The galaxy is watching, human. And now they know what humans are capable of." As they walked, Adrian felt a quiet satisfaction. He had faced fear, uncertainty, and danger. He had solved impossible problems, united alien species, and survived trials no human before him had attempted. And in doing so, he had become more than an explorer. He had become a living symbol of human potential. He knew the battle was over for now, but the future held many challenges. Other worlds might doubt humans, other threats might rise, and the galaxy was vast and unpredictable. Yet Adrian was ready. With courage, creativity, and the human touch, he would face them all. And somewhere deep inside, he realized the truth that had guided him from the start. Humans were more than survivors, more than explorers. They could inspire, lead, and change the course of history across the stars. Tonight, under Virelia's twin moons, a legend walked. Among the citizens, a human who had become more than a story, more than a hero. He had become a bridge between worlds, a symbol of hope, and the living proof that humans could shine even in the farthest reaches of the galaxy. The calm after the battle lasted only a few days. Adrian stood atop the palace balcony, gazing at the city of Viralia. The streets glowed softly under the twin moons, and citizens moved freely, smiling and talking among themselves. The victories had brought hope. Yet Adrian sensed something still lurking, a hidden threat that had not revealed itself. Queen Lyra joined him silently. "Adrian," she said, her voice serious, The Sarith fleet was only a warning. There are those who still seek to exploit fear and doubt. Some factions in our galaxy wait for weakness. You must be ready. Adrian nodded. Then we prepare. Together, we will face whatever comes. The following morning, reports arrived of a massive energy surge near Varelia's borders. Sensors detected unknown ships, cloaked and moving with stealth. Lyra's advisors were tense. "We cannot identify them," one said. "Their technology is beyond anything we have seen." Adrian studied the data. He noticed patterns, small, almost invisible anomalies that suggested the ships were not just attacking randomly. "They're probing us," he said. "Testing our defenses. They want to see how we respond before committing fully." Lyra's eyes met his. "Then we strike first, human, but carefully, not with aggression, but with strategy." Adrian assembled a team from the Allied forces, Varelian shield operators, Tarathian interceptors, Dremeran energy manipulators, and a few humans who had joined the mission. "We need a coordinated approach," he explained. "We'll lure them into a controlled zone, then neutralize their cloaking and guide them away from the city. Everyone must trust each other completely." The hidden ships moved closer, and the sky shimmered with faint outlines as Adrian's sensors picked them up. He guided the Allied forces with calm authority, anticipating the enemy's moves. He used small drones, energy pulses, and misdirection, carefully manipulating the battlefield to create openings. The enemy responded, but Adrian's human intuition and quick thinking kept the Allies in perfect formation. One cloaked ship tried to slip past the defenses, heading straight for the city's heart. Adrian acted instantly, sending a series of energy pulses that revealed the ship's location. Tarathian interceptors moved with lightning speed, intercepting it before any harm could occur. Lyra watched in awe. "You anticipate them before they act. Humans truly see the world differently." Adrian smiled faintly. "We survive by observing, adapting, and thinking ahead." The battle continued for hours, the hidden ships attempting new strategies, but Adrian remained calm. Every move he made combined logic, creativity, and trust in the Allies' strengths. Gradually, the enemy ships were neutralized, forced to retreat, and the city remained safe. After the final ship disappeared, the Allied forces cheered. Citizens flooded the streets, celebrating not just survival but the courage and brilliance of the human who had led them. Children waved flags, engineers exchanged ideas, and scholars began recording the events to remember the lessons learned. Lyra approached. Adrian, her face radiant. "You have done more than defend our city," she said. "You have shown the galaxy that humans are not only capable of bravery but of wisdom, leadership, and unity. You are the legend our people spoke of." Adrian felt a deep humility. He had only acted out of instinct, knowledge, and care for others, yet his deeds had inspired hope across multiple species. "I only tried to help," he said softly. "I never thought it would matter so much." "But it does," Lyra replied. "Every choice, every action you made strengthened alliances, built trust, and saved countless lives. That is what makes a legend. Not words, but deeds." The celebrations continued into the night. Fireworks glowed in soft colors above the city, reflecting off the metallic surfaces of the buildings. Children laughed, elders nodded in approval, and Adrian finally allowed himself to relax, feeling the weight of his journey slowly ease. Later, he walked through the city with Lyra, observing the results of his influence. Engineers worked together. In new ways, games and exercises he had introduced were being played by alien children, and alliances with neighboring planets were stronger than ever. Adrian realized that his human touch had changed not only a city, but the culture and perception of humans across the galaxy. You've done more than I imagined, Lyra said, her voice gentle. Humans are often underestimated, but you have proven that their courage and creativity can shape worlds. You are a bridge, Adrian, between species and between hope and action. Adrian smiled. I think humans are capable of more than even we know. Sometimes we just need a chance to show it. Lyra nodded. And now, you have given us that chance. Your name will be remembered in Virelia for generations. As they stood under the twin moons, Adrian looked at the stars. Each point of light represented countless possibilities. Other worlds to explore, other threats to face, and other opportunities to show the potential of humanity. He knew his journey was far from over, yet he felt ready. He had faced fear, solved impossible problems, united species, and inspired hope. In that moment, he understood the true meaning of being a legend. It was not about glory or fame. It was about courage, ingenuity, and the choices one made when lives depended on them. Humans could not only survive among the stars, they could thrive, inspire, and lead. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. You are more than a legend, Adrian. You are proof that humanity's greatest strength is not just in its science or technology, but in its heart. Adrian looked at the glowing city below, feeling a quiet pride. He had come to Virelia as a visitor, an explorer seeking discovery. Now he was part of its story, a living example of what humans could achieve when courage, intelligence, and compassion guided their actions. The night air was calm, the stars above shining brightly. Adrian knew that future challenges awaited. Other worlds might doubt humans, other threats might arise, but he also knew this. Wherever humans went, they could leave a mark. They could unite, inspire, and overcome. And that mark, he realized, was the true legend of humanity. As the twin moons reflected in his eyes, Adrian took a deep breath and whispered to himself, "This is only the beginning." And so, the legend lived on, not as a story told in whispers or myths, but as a truth written across the stars. A human had faced impossible odds, united worlds, and proved that courage, ingenuity, and heart could shine brighter than any weapon in the galaxy. Virelia would remember him, the Allies would remember him, and the galaxy, slowly but surely, would remember the legend of humanity.